To use the SDK for Uniswap Liquidity Pool, you first need to understand what Uniswap is and how liquidity pools work. Uniswap is a decentralized exchange protocol that allows users to trade cryptocurrencies in a trustless and permissionless manner. A liquidity pool is a pool of funds locked in a smart contract that enables trading on the platform. The first step in using the SDK is to install it in your project. You can do this by running a command in your terminal that installs the necessary packages. Once installed, you can import the SDK into your code and start using its functions. The next step is to connect to the Ethereum network. As Uniswap is built on top of it, you can do this by creating a new instance of the Ethereum provider class, which will allow you to interact with the blockchain. After connecting to the network, you need to create a new instance of the Uniswap protocol class. This class will provide you with methods to interact with the liquidity pools, such as adding or removing liquidity, and getting the current pool prices. To add liquidity to a pool, you need to call the add liquidity method and pass in the necessary parameters, such as the amount of tokens you want to add in the pool address. You also need to approve the Uniswap protocol to spend your tokens before adding liquidity. To remove liquidity from a pool, you need to call the remove liquidity method and pass in the necessary parameters, such as the amount of liquidity tokens you want to remove in the pool address. It is also important to note that when working with liquidity pools, you need to be aware of the concept of impermanent loss, which refers to the loss of value that can occur when the price of the tokens in the pool changes. To mitigate this risk, it is recommended to use a strategy that involves diversifying your portfolio and actively managing your liquidity. Best practices for using the SDK include handling errors and exceptions properly, and keeping your private keys and sensitive information secure. It is also recommended to test your code thoroughly before deploying it to production. In conclusion, using the SDK for Uniswap Liquidity Pool requires a good understanding of the underlying concepts and protocols. By following the steps outlined in this guide, you can start using the SDK to interact with the Uniswap protocol and build your own decentralized applications.